Battle Through the Heavens Episode 182. A cluster of lights flashed across the empty realm. Its speed was as quick as lightning. In a flash, it appeared at the edge of the darkness before finally disappearing. Brother Xiao Yang, with our speed, we should be able to reach the Eastern Dragon Island in another 10+ minutes. Yarrow Ming lifted his eyes and looked in the distance where the flowing light was. He turned his head and spoke to Xiao Yang beside him. Let's increase our speed. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. His eyes looked to the depths of the darkness as the fist in his sleeve was slowly clenched. He waved his sleeve and his speed once again soared. Yarrow Ming and the rest could only hurriedly follow him upon seeing him go even faster. Wait, there is a familiar aura. This flight continued for a couple of minutes before Xiao Yang's body suddenly stilled. He frowned as he looked to a part of the empty realm to his left. Bang! An intense energy explosion was emitted from within the empty space. Immediately, a figure spat out blood and pulled back, falling into a group of people. The figure's face was pale as his eyes furiously looked around him. Over 10 figures appeared in the surroundings a moment later. All of their auras were extremely powerful. Clearly, they were all very strong, especially the 2 elders leading them. Their auras appeared ordinary, but there was a terrifying pressure spreading from them. They were surprisingly 2 peak experts who had reached the Ban Sheng class. 3 Great Dragon Islands, you people are really bold to attack Her Majesty, the Dragon Emperor. There were around 7 to 8 figures surrounded by the 10 individuals, but most of them were seriously injured. There were 2 familiar faces among these people. If one were to carefully look at them, they were He Qing, who had helped Xiao Yang a couple of times, and Elder Zhu Li, whom Xiao Yang had met once before. Only these 2 within the group appeared to be in a slightly better state, but their faces were currently extremely gloomy. They had been out on patrol. Who would have expected them to learn of the 3 large Dragon Islands' attack on the Eastern Dragon Island upon returning from the patrol? Before they could hurry back with great speed, they ended up meeting this group from the 3 large Dragon Islands, which had sealed the Eastern Dragon Island. A big battle immediately erupted. The result was something that need not be mentioned. With 2 Ban Shengs, the other party had easily defeated them and had chased them here. Clearly, the other party was planning on eliminating all of them. Zhu Li, the 3 Great Dragon Kings are the true rulers. You people have found some fake from an unknown place in an attempt to unite the ancient Void Dragon. It is really too naive of you. A man wearing battle armor mockingly glanced at Zhu Li and laughed. He was one of the commanders of this unit and possessed the strength of an intermediate Ban Sheng. You would know better than I do in your hearts whether it is a fake. It looks like you people have already forgotten the rules of our tribe under the rule of the 3 Great Dragon Kings. Zhu Li's expression was gloomy as he commented on the situation. That old armored man frowned slightly upon hearing these words. His expression was a little unnatural. Within the ancient Void Dragon tribe, the royal clan held absolute authority over the ordinary tribe members. The pressure that originated from within the bloodline caused an ordinary tribe member to be afraid of fighting against the royal clan. The 2 of them possessed a high status within the 3 Great Dragon Islands. Naturally, they also understood that the young Dragon Emperor on the Eastern Dragon Island did indeed possess an extremely pure royal bloodline, but they had been ruled by the 3 Dragon Kings for many years, so their way of thinking had been altered. They might not dare to directly attack that young Dragon Emperor, but they did not feel much fear while attacking the others. Qian Xian, do not waste your breath with this old fellow. Quickly finish them off. The resistance from the Eastern Dragon Island is more intense than we expected. We must return quickly. A red-faced old man impatiently waved his hand and cried out as he stood beside that old armored man. 2 old bastards, your 3 Great Dragon Island do not have the ability to destroy my Eastern Dragon Island. Once the Dragon Emperor becomes stronger, your 3 Great Dragon Islands will simply wait to die. He Qing furiously cursed. That is only if you can wait until that time comes, the red-faced old man coldly laughed. His eyes immediately turned cold as he threw a palm at He Qing across the empty space. A frightening wind tore through the air and swiftly smashed into He Qing's body with lightning-like speed. Grug. The current He Qing might have reached the 8th change peak of the Dozun class, but how could he compare with a high-level Ban Sheng? The armor on his body immediately crumbled. A large mouthful of blood was spat out as his body collided with a few other tribe members behind him. "You old fellow who doesn't know his limit. How dare you roar at this elder?" That red-faced old man coldly laughed with disdain after causing He Qing to spit out blood and fly back with a palm. "You damn bastard." He Qing's eyes immediately turned red after suffering this heavy blow. His body suddenly swelled to twice its size. "Kill all of them. Do not allow anyone to live." The red-faced old man coldly smiled and shook his head upon seeing He Qing go mad. He simply waved his hand and gave a command. "How dare you?" Zhu Li became furious. A monstrous Do Chi erupted as he threw a punch forward. A vast and mighty Do Chi gathered into a 1,000-foot-large dragon that crazily charged toward the red-faced old man. Roar! The body of that old armored man swelled as Zhu Li attacked. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a half-man half-dragon combat state. He roared at the sky before shooting forward like a cannonball. With just a punch, he completely shattered the giant energy dragon. "Zhu Li, both of our strengths are similar. How will you fight me now that you are injured?" That elder, who had turned into a half-dragon, stepped through empty air. His body strangely appeared above Elder Zhu Li's head as a large dragon claw violently tore through the air. It was accompanied by an extremely sharp wind. Bang! Elder Zhu Li clenched his teeth as this extremely ferocious attack came down from above. An armor with dragon symbols on it appeared around his body. After which, the armor appeared like a furious dragon as it violently collided with that half-dragon elder. Bang bang! That red-faced elder coldly smiled and waved his sleeve as Elder Zhu Li engaged that half-man half-dragon elder in an intense battle. Each time he did so, a warrior from the eastern dragon island spit out blood and fall back. The armor on their bodies would also explode. Finally, the warriors from the 3 great dragon tribes would pounce on that warrior from the eastern dragon island. "I will fight with you until the end." A fierce fury immediately erupted within He Qing's eyes after seeing his tribe members being captured one after another. A crazy punch smashed into 2 figures heading his way, causing them to vomit blood and fly back. His foot stomped through the air as his body shot toward that red-faced elder with lightning-like speed. "An ant-like existence actually dares to challenge me?" The red-faced old man coldly laughed and shook his head upon seeing this attack. He clenched his fist and dense scales swiftly appeared. He quickly threw a punch as a deep sonic boom formed under his fist with a bang. After which, it collided with He Qing, who had explosively shot over. Bang! This hard collision caused the red-faced elder's body to barely tremble. He also took half a step back. On the other hand, He Qing's arm revealed a vein and emitted a puff sound as it shot out many blood arrows. The vague sound of bones cracking also appeared. His hand feebly fell as his body flew back a distance of 10,000 feet. Only then did he slowly come to a halt. He Qing remained suspended in the empty realm with blood covering his body. The strength in his body had been shattered by a punch from the red-faced old man. If his physical body wasn't extremely strong, that punch would likely have blasted his body apart. "Am I going to die?" He Qing's eyes gradually became blurry. At this moment, he had been seriously injured by that red-faced old man. Although he felt dissatisfied in his heart, he also understood that there was an extremely big gap between him and the other party. "Relax, I will throw you into the dragon tomb once you are dead. It can be considered a resting place for you." The space in front of He Qing fluctuated as the red-faced elder appeared. His eyes were cold and indifferent as they looked at He Qing. After which, he slowly lowered his body and placed his hand gently above He Qing's head. A cold glint surged within his somewhat turbid eyes. "Huazhan, the Dragon Emperor will not let you off if you dare to kill him." Elder Zhu Li, who was being dragged into distance, felt his body turn ice-cold upon seeing He Qing's situation. His eyes were blood-red as he roared. "He, the Dragon Emperor? That is only if she can survive the combined strength of the 3 Dragon Kings." That red-faced old man shook his head and ridiculed. He lowered his head and looked at He Qing, who was planning to gather his strength to unleash an attack. He continued with pity in his voice, "You are really an extremely hard character. Unfortunately, you have chosen the wrong side." He Qing shook his head somewhat impatiently after uttering those words. He grabbed the top of He Qing's head and slowly used his strength. The victory this time around belongs to the 3 Great Dragon Islands, but you can rest assured that many people will accompany you. At the very least, you will not feel lonely. A cruel smile surfaced on the red-faced old man's face. His sharp fingers gently pressed down and formed 5 bloody holes in He Qing's head, but he suddenly sensed a somewhat ice-cold hand quietly land on his head as he was about to shatter He Qing's head. At the same time, a soft voice was slowly transmitted into his ear. His body completely stilled like a statue. Tell me, do you think that you will be able to shatter his head faster than me doing the same to yours? He Qing, who had already shut his eyes to await death, suddenly opened both of his eyes upon hearing the soft voice that did not contain any anger. A familiar skinny figure was appeared in his eyes. Xiao Yang. He Qing's eyes were extremely stunned as he looked at the skinny figure, who had appeared beside him, especially when he saw that the figure's hand was gently pressing down on the red-faced old man's head. His eyelids involuntarily twitched. Who are you? I am Elder Huazhon from the Northern Dragon Island. The red-faced old man's body completely stilled at this moment. His body did not dare move even a bit. He could sense the frightening strength of the hand on his head. His heart clearly understood that his head would explode into a cluster of bloody fog if this hand gently shook. Just where has this monster come from? Why was I not able to sense his approach? The eyes of the red-faced old man continued to flicker. His expression was also rapidly changing. Release your hand. Xiao Yang indifferently glanced at the old man and gave him a command. The red-faced old man's expression changed. He quickly rotated his eyes. I will count to 3 and we will release together. What do you say? Xiao Yang, kill him. He is an elite Ban Sheng from the Northern Dragon Island and has a much higher status than me. It is worthwhile to exchange my life for his. He Qing's face turned purple as he softly roared. The red-faced old man's eyes turned cold. He immediately felt the desire to shatter He Qing's head, but he could only suppress the murderous desire in his heart the moment he thought about this mysterious person, who was someone he had never met. He asked in a deep voice, "What do you think?" "All right," Xiao Yang smiled. "All right, 1, 2, 3. The red-faced elder rejoiced. 3 numbers were quickly uttered from his mouth. After the last number sounded, he felt that ice-cold hand above his head indeed shift. He hurriedly tossed He Qing aside and flew away with lightning-like speed. May I know who this friend is? This matter is entirely a matter of our ancient Void Dragon tribe. Friend, I hope that you will not intervene. The Dragon Kings of the 3 Great Dragon Islands are only a short distance away. If they are attracted here, I think that it will be extremely difficult for you to escape. The red-faced man managed to clearly see the person who had intervened earlier after flying away. He was immediately startled after seeing that this person was so young. His voice was deep as he spoke. Xiao Yang acted as though he did not hear the red-faced man's cry. He lowered his body and helped He Qing up. After which, he took out a medicinal pill and stuffed it into He Qing's mouth. He laughed. How is it? It isn't enough to kill me. He Qing bitterly smiled and shook his head. He looked at the red-faced old man and regretfully said, "You should have killed him earlier. This person is an elite Ban Sheng. Killing him would have been equivalent to cutting off the flesh of the Northern Dragon Island. This kind of opportunity is not something that you can find all the time." He Qing's voice contained a feeling of great disappointment. From the way he saw it, using his life in exchange for that of an elite Ban Sheng was incredibly worthwhile. Huazhon, what happened? This unexpected change was also sensed by the half-dragon elder who was fighting with Elder Zhu Li. He frowned and cried out loud. His attacks remained extremely ruthless as he spoke. His dragon claws were swung and a sharp wind forced Elder Zhu Li into a somewhat miserable state. Elder Zhu Li had been injured to begin with, so he was unable to defeat the other party. A problem has occurred. The red-faced old man, who was called Huazhon, stared intently at Xiao Yang. He could sense a vague pressure from Xiao Yang. Hence, he did not dare to be careless as he replied in a deep voice. Bang! That half-dragon elder frowned upon hearing this. He suddenly threw a palm and forced Elder Zhu Li back. His eyes looked over and finally landed on Xiao Yang. Those eyes immediately narrowed as he cried out in a cold voice, "Friend, interfering in the matters of my ancient void dragon tribe in this empty realm is not a smart decision." Xiao Yang. Elder Zhu Li had also used this opportunity to sigh in relief. He looked at the human figure beside He Qing and was also greatly surprised, but he appeared to have recalled something as his expression changed. His body moved and appeared beside Xiao Yang. He said, "Why have you come here? The matter here is not something that you can intervene with. Bring He Qing and leave. I will protect you." Trying to escape? How can it be so easy? Friend, this is your last chance. The red-faced old man's eyes gradually revealed some unfriendliness as he stared at Xiao Yang and spoke. "An intermediate Ban Sheng actually dares to act arrogantly in front of me." Xiao Yang slightly frowned. He suddenly took a step forward, and his body disappeared in an instant. The expression of the red-faced old man drastically changed upon watching Xiao Yang disappear. His body turned into a ray of light that hurriedly pulled back, but his body had just moved when a large hand penetrated the space in front of him and landed above his head. At the same time, an ice-cold voice was transmitted through the air. "Move again and you will die." The red-faced old man's eyes were shocked as he looked at the figure that had slowly appeared from the empty space in front of him. A moment later, his somewhat hoarse voice slowly seeped out from between his teeth. You are an elite Do Sheng." The red-faced old man was not the only one who was stunned by Xiao Yang's attack. Even He Qing and Elder Zhu Li were completely astounded as they watched Xiao Yang move. They were unable to recover. When Xiao Yang had left the Eastern Dragon Island back then, he had merely been a 5-star Dozun. In just a couple of years, he had leaped from a 5-star Dozun to a Dosheng. Damn, how can he expect one to continue living? He Qing muttered in stunned disbelief. He had trained for many years, but he had only managed to climb to the 8th change peak of the Dozun class. There was still a great distance to the Ban Sheng class. In the end, Xiao Yang, who had been weaker than him back then, had already advanced beyond him. Xiao Yang pressed his hand against the head of the red-faced old man. He glanced at the red face that was gradually turning pale. After which, his finger gently pressed on the old man's forehead. With the press of this finger, a bloody hole ended up forming on the forehead of the red-faced old man. The aura of the old man's body quickly became weak. Xiao Yang randomly touched the man's body with his hand and a symbol appeared on the red-faced old man's forehead, sealing his Do Qi. Xiao Yang completed all of these actions before grabbing the red-faced old man to move. He appeared beside He Qing and randomly tossed that old man over. He laughed, "There is no need to sacrifice your life to capture him." He Qing was a little dull as he received the red-faced old man, who was in an unknown condition. The powerful and untouchable elite Ban Sheng in his eyes had become this useless in Xiao Yang's hands. Within a couple of minutes, that person, who had been acting high and mighty earlier, was no different than a dead dog. Gulp. Elder Zhu Li by the side also quietly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Even at his peak condition, he would have had to experience a bitter battle in order to defeat this person, yet in Xiao Yang's hands. This fellow, just how has he trained? He has reached this level within a short few years. No wonder he is a friend of the Dragon Emperor. He is indeed extraordinary. Withdraw. That half-dragon elder in the distance was stunned because of this scene. He recovered a moment later and a chill surged from his feet into his heart. A stern cry was decisively emitted from his mouth. Since the other party was able to capture Huazhon with such ease, that person was definitely a genuine Do Sheng. An expert of that level was not someone they could deal with. Remaining behind would only be sharing the same fate as Huazhon. The half-dragon elder was the first to pull back after his cry sounded. Within a couple of flashes, he had appeared at the edge of the darkness. He needed to report this matter as soon as possible. At that time, there would naturally be some experts from the island who would finish this brat off. Xiao Yang, do not allow them to escape. Otherwise, they may end up alerting the enemy. Elder Zhu Li hurriedly cried out while feeling startled. He had not expected that old fellow to simply just run away. Xiao Yang grinned and nodded, but he did not move. His eyes glanced in the direction of the fleeing group. Around 2 minutes or so later, a ray of light suddenly flashed. Many figures rushed over from that direction and appeared in front of everyone. It was surprisingly Yarrow Ming's group. At this moment, they were holding some people in their hands. That half-dragon elder, who had fled earlier, was also among them. Ha ha, this old fellow is really cunning, but what can he do with just the strength of a mere bansheng? Yarrow Ming threw the half-dragon elder, who had been beaten unconscious, to Xiao Yang and laughed. Xiao Yang received this elder and sealed his do qi up. After which, he tossed this person to He Qing. His eyes landed on Elder Zhu Li as he laughed. This is the 9 serene deep-ground python tribe's chief, Yarrow Ming. 9 serene deep-ground python tribe? Zhu Li's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. His eyes cautiously looked at Yarrow Ming as he said, "It is rumored that the 3 large dragon islands have dispatched people to ask for other tribes' cooperation to deal with our eastern dragon island. Ha ha, this elder need not be worried. The one who agreed to cooperate with the 3 large dragon islands was that useless brother of mine. However, I have regained my tribal chief position from him." Yarrow Ming smiled and replied, "Now, I have been invited by brother Xiao Yang. If the Eastern Dragon Island does not despise this help, my 9 serene deep-ground python tribe can lend you a hand." Oh! Elder Zhu Li was startled upon hearing this offer. His eyes landed on Xiao Yang. Only after seeing Xiao Yang nod with a smile did he reveal an expression of wild joy. Their Eastern Dragon Island desperately needed reinforcements. "What is the situation of the Eastern Dragon Island like now?" Xiao Yang asked. Elder Zhu Li softly sighed and shook his head. His voice was low and deep, "Very bad. The 3 great dragon islands have poured all over this place. They have made up their minds to kill the Dragon Emperor before she can truly reach her peak. The Eastern Dragon Island is in complete chaos. The Dragon Emperor has been surrounded by the 3 great dragon kings." A grave expression appeared on Xiao Yang's face. The situation of the Eastern Dragon Island was worse than he had imagined. "Go, let's head to the Eastern Dragon Island." Xiao Yang slowly exhaled. The fist under his sleeve was slowly tightened. Regardless of how strong the 3 great dragon kings were, it was impossible for him to simply ignore Ziyang's cur. Even light disappeared within the dark empty realm. This world was monotonous and lonely. At the same time, it was plagued with much danger. There would occasionally be some surging chaotic spatial flow that could forcefully shatter an expert dozun. Hence, other than the ancient void dragons, which specialized in spatial strength, seldom would any humans or experts from other races enter the empty realm. Of course, this kind of place might be completely remote and deserted to others, but it was quite beneficial for the ancient void dragon tribe. The chaotic spatial flow in this place was not only able to train their control over spatial strength, but they were also able to use the tearing force of the chaotic flow to train their extremely strong physical bodies. Some light suddenly appeared from within the nothingness. If one were to look in the direction of the light, one would see an extremely huge island suspended in the emptiness. Bang bang! Extremely intense energy explosions continued to be emitted from that enormous island. Wave after wave of wild and violent energy attacks began to sweep in all directions from the island like a storm. Everything within 100,000 feet from that island was completely destroyed. There were quite a number of people waiting gravely in the empty space around the island. Sharp eyes swept around the island. Anyone attempting to charge out of the island would be violently smashed down by the storm-like attacks. These troops had formed an airtight dragnet which completely surrounded the island. 20 people were lingering at a certain spot above the island. Their eyes continued to sweep over this group at the middle. A cold and stern-looking strong man was sitting down in the middle of the group. The aura of this person was quite strong. He was even a little stronger than He Qing. He was an expert who had reached the 9th change peak of the Dozun class. Swoosh! This large man stared intently at the island below. Suddenly, his ears slightly moved as his eyes swung around the empty space in the distance. His body suddenly stood up as he let out a deep cry, "Be careful, someone is approaching." A cluster of light suddenly flashed and appeared from deep within the darkness after his last word sounded. It appeared a short distance from the group within a couple of flashes. Hey Ching. They are from the Eastern Dragon Island. Attack. The eyes of the large man were extremely sharp. He managed to identify He Ching from within the cluster of lights with a glance. His expression sank as he cried out in a cold voice. Understood. The many human figures cried out in an orderly fashion after hearing his shout. Many powerful energy light pillars shot out. Their combined attack gave them an extremely powerful momentum. Bang! However, a faint voice was emitted while these light pillars approached the cluster of lights. Everyone was horrified to watch those many light pillars explode with a bang. Soon after, a frightening strength that could not be resisted surged out of the empty space and violently struck their bodies. Grug. This attack was undoubtedly an exterminating force for the warriors from these three great dragon islands. The armors on those many warriors was shattered into dust. Other than the big man, who had reached the 9th change peak of the Dozun class, the remaining people fell to the dragon island below. Bastard, who exactly are you? The large man's eyes were shocked as he saw their defenses crumbling in the blink of an eye. He quickly let out a low roar. The flowing lights slowly disappeared a short distance in front of the large man. Xiao Yang stepped out from within a light. His eyes did not pause on the large man in front of him. Instead, they swept over the dragon island below. At this moment, the Eastern Dragon Island was filled with holes. Extremely intense battles erupted all over the place. A wild and violent energy caused the entire island to become much dimmer. Although the Dragon Island was in a complete chaos, Xiao Yang could see that the defensive line of the Eastern Dragon Island had shrunk from the outer region to the central Dragon Hall. That location was the middle of the Eastern Dragon Island. In other words, other than the territory around the Dragon Hall, almost 2/3 of the Eastern Dragon Island had been captured by the three great Dragon Islands. This situation was quite bad. Where is Zi Yang? Xiao Yang's eyes swept around him, but he did not discover a hint of Zi Yang. He frowned and had just posed a question when an extremely frightening energy ripple was suddenly transmitted over. Xiao Yang's expression was slightly altered upon sensing this energy fluctuation. He lifted his head and looked for the source of this energy fluctuation. He found a bright sun-like light suspended at that spot. It was possible to vaguely see a couple of figures exchanging blows with lightning-like speed. After each exchange, waves of terrifying energy storm would sweep apart. If they weren't some distance from the Dragon Island, these remnant waves would have completely destroyed the Eastern Dragon Island. Xiao Yang's eyes stared intently at the circle of light. A flame slowly surged into both of his eyes, allowing his gaze to penetrate through the light and capture everything inside. A somewhat familiar back with long purple hair that emitted a faint enchantment was the first to be imprinted into his sight. Who else could that familiar demeanor belong to other than Zi Yang? However, her current appearance was no longer that of a little girl. Instead, she had become a great beauty. Her tall figure was wrapped within a dark golden form-fitting armor. The armor was not bulky. It pressed against her exquisite and well-proportioned body, outlining her beautiful and sexy curves. The faint temptation hid a bone-piercing chill. The little girl from back then had become such an alluring and bewitching lady. That exquisite face contained an additional cold aura because her eyebrows had been lifted slightly. Although she was still young, it was possible to see a faint aura of authority between her thin eyebrows. Once she fully matured, her demeanor of royalty as the Dragon Emperor of the ancient Void Dragon tribe would frighten anyone looking at her. On the opposite side of Zi Yang stood three figures. The three of them possessed middle-aged appearance. Each and every action they made was domineering, revealing their fierce and overbearing nature. Those are the three great dragon kings, her. Xiao Yang's eyes locked onto the three figures. A grave expression flashed across his eyes. He could sense that those three possessed a strength that surpassed Yarrow Ming. In other words, those three fellows were, at the very least, 3-star Doshungs. Zi Yang was holding a long dark golden spear that was taller than her body as she stood within the light sphere. The spear danced and emitted a glaring golden glitter. It had managed to prevent the three great dragon kings from gaining an advantage. Her fighting strength was completely unleashed. It seemed that her dragon phoenix constitution caused her strength to soar. Compared to Xiao Yang, it was likely that she could truly be described as having reached the peak in a single stride. Moreover, this peak was even higher than Xiao Yang. The dragon phoenix possessed the bloodline strength of the ancient void dragon and the heaven phoenix. It was the true ruler of the magical beast world. When a dragon phoenix truly reached the peak, this monstrous existence would not need to feel fear even when facing a legendary Do Di. However, that was in the future. It had only been a short period of time since Zi Yang had become Dragon Phoenix. Although her strength had soared during these few years, she still wasn't strong enough to face these three great dragon kings, who were a lot more experienced than her. It was obvious that this stubborn resistance could not last for long. Roar. While Xiao Yang had become absent-minded because of the battle in the distance, the large man from earlier suddenly emitted a dragon roar. "You are seeking death." Xiao Yang's eyes turned cold after being awoken by the dragon roar. He threw a palm forward. That large man, whose body was rapidly pulling back, erupted into a cluster of bloody fog. This fellow was sending a message. Many three great Dragon Island experts are hurrying over. Elder Zhu Li spoke in a deep voice. "Let's head to the Dragon Hall first." Xiao Yang's eyes flickered. He did indeed see many figures rushing in this direction. Without hesitating, he moved his body and led the way to the Dragon Hall. Yarrow Ming and the others hurriedly followed behind him. "Block them." The Dragon Island emitted many loud cries while Xiao Yang's group moved. There were many three great Dragon Island experts in front that were attempting to block Xiao Yang's group. Xiao Yang merely smiled as this obstruction formed. The Do Qi within his body circulated to the limit. He widened his mouth and a sea of flames was spat out. Their frighteningly high temperature caused the expressions of some of the elite Ban Sheng to change. With Xiao Yang's current strength, the strength of his heavenly flame was many times stronger than in the past. A sea of flames had spread by just widening his mouth. If this was in the past, he would have difficulty creating such a great force even if he had drained all of the Do Qi within his body. Xiao Yang waved his hand as the sea of flames blocked the attacks. A fire barrier surrounded his group before they swiftly charged through the sea of flames. They had appeared in the air above the Dragon Hall within a couple of flashes. "Where have you bastards come from? You dare to intervene in the plans of our three great Dragon Islands?" An thunder-like explosive cry sounded the moment Xiao Yang appeared above the Dragon Hall. Immediately, a large black-faced man with a giant ape-like body appeared. He had a ferocious expression as he threw a punch toward Xiao Yang. The frightening strength caused the air within 1,000 feet completely vanish in an instant. "Xiao Yang, be careful. He is the first commander of the Western Dragon Island, Shen Mo. He has the strength of a 2-star Do Sheng." Zhu Li's expression slightly changed upon seeing that large black-faced man. He hurriedly cried out in the process. Xiao Yang waved his sleeve. A gentle force delivered everyone to the Dragon Hall below before he turned his body. His body suddenly swelled and turned into a golden giant that was not inferior to the other party in the blink of an eye. After which, he threw a punch and collided head-on with Shen Mo in front of many shocked pairs of eyes. "Get lost." Xiao Yang's furious thunder-like roar of Xiao suddenly exploded over the sky the moment the clash occurred. This video will end here.